Are you a collector or reseller looking to vend at your first card show? Well, if you are, you're in the right place, because in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what you need to do to prepare for your first card show or your second or third, and exactly the items that I use to help me vend at card shows. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Talton Robertson, and I run an online video game and trading card game store, primevideogames.com, and I've been doing card shows for quite some time. Now, I have experienced a bad show where I was unprepared and a good show where I was prepared. I had everything in order, and it does make a world of difference to be prepared for a show. So, with that being said, let's go into the different reasons why being prepared even matters. So being prepared for a show matters because shows are competitive. First of all, when you go to a show, you work a show, there are literally hundreds of other vendors selling the same stuff that you're selling. If you're selling Pokemon cards like I do, that's mainly what we sell at card shows, then you will notice that there are at least 50 other Pokemon card vendors. These Pokemon card vendors may be more prepared than you, and that is going to come down to what you're willing to do to prepare for a show to make sure that the show is successful. The more prepared you are, the more successful you're going to be for the show. For example, if you have all of your cards priced before the show, you know exactly what you can sell them for. And if you have them pre-priced, then you don't have to waste time looking it up in the middle of the show just to figure out whether or not the buyer is even interested. So one of the things that I do before every show is I go through my entire binder full of cards and I price all of these cards out for that day. And so whatever sticker price I put on that card, that's today's price. And so I'll show you an example of my big binder. So here is my big binder, Cybonic. I don't know if you can see that. That's the brand. It's just one off of Amazon. Nothing really super special about this binder as far as the brand goes. However, I do think this is a super high quality binder. I will leave a link in the description below in case you want to get one of these. And I call this my big binder, well, A, because it's a pretty big binder, and B, this is where I store all of my high-end cards at, or even mid-end. Basically anything over $10 I want to try to do my best to protect, because at shows you can have kids that come up and they will flip through your pages and possibly bend some of the cards. And on the lower end cards, the $1, $2 cards, you know, that might not make or break the bank. But if you were to do that with $50, $100, $200 cards, that can really hurt. And so this is a top loader binder. So we're going to showcase a little bit here. So in this binder you can fit both the card in a sleeve and in a top loader, and so that way the card is protected from the rigid protector. And so you can see here, like, I've got that Pikachu at 165, the Machamp at 160, the Lugia I haven't put a price tag on, and that's because I just picked up the Lugia. But that's what I do. I individually sticker every single one of my cards before I go to a card show. And I definitely think that's important, because if you are prepared for the card show, you already have the number in mind, and it lets customers know that this card is for sale. There's the number. They have to think on the number, and then if they want to negotiate, you just having that number in your head already gives you an idea of like how much of a negotiation you're willing to do. And so I always like to be prepared for a card show by pricing all of my cards beforehand. And so I put stickers on the sleeves. These are penny sleeves. And so I have a Dymo printer, and I literally just use the smallest Dymo labels to print out my sticker prices. Now, this may not be the best option for everyone. You can buy a variety of different stickers. You can write the price on there. I personally like using the Dymo because I feel like the stickers are the cleanest, they look the best, and everything's very uniform. And so that's how I like to run my business. And you may want to run your business the same, so I will leave a link to the Dymo and the labels that I use. And by the way, I do have a link to labels that are not Dymo branded. Most of the time Dymo does not accept labels from other brands. However, these are Dymo compatible, and so you're able to get them for a much cheaper price. Especially when it comes to pricing cards, you will go through these stickers. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 stickers is nothing if you're moving a lot of cards. And now the next thing I want to bring up is actually pricing sealed. So behind me I have all of the sealed product, you know, Journey Together, Crown, Shrouded, Darkness Ablaze. There's a few different boxes back there, ETBs. I got some collection boxes up there. One thing about sealed is as sealed ages, the less a buyer is willing to pay that premium price if the sealed is not in great condition. At a certain point, it doesn't make sense to rip sealed anymore for the most part. There are always some YouTubers that will do it because they are making money on the ad revenue and they're building a base for their whatever service that they offer. Maybe it's a Discord server or something like that. In my particular case, I'm just looking out for collectors. I know I personally do not like to buy beat up collectibles. I want the collectibles to be in mint condition, and so I do not put any price stickers on my sealed products. So I have a solution for that, and these are awesome, and I'm gonna show off actually both of them. I have another one up here, but this is a stand that you can put any kind of marketing material in. And so I just use an Excel spreadsheet, and I make this price list here. And so I just put the prices of all the collection boxes and all the elite trainer boxes on here, and that way when customers come over to my table, I don't even have to tell them what the price is. I say I have a price sheet, and a lot of times that's awesome because people will take the time to stare at this price sheet, and more people will gather just trying to figure out like all the prices. And there will be a crowd around my table all looking at the price list, trying to decide what they want to buy. And so I think it's really good for attracting customers is very important. You want your table to look clean. And I'll show off this other one. So this is the one I use to take payments. Same card stand. I'll leave a link in the description, no worries. My business, Prime Video Games, I've got on here buy, sell, trade, up to 80% trade credit, and then I've got my different payment options here that I take. And so those are my two pieces of marketing material that I really have at every show. I also bring business cards because I want these people to shop on my website. So I also leave a stack of business cards on the table. Now, with that being said, another important thing to make your table look good is going to be a tablecloth. And you can get custom tablecloths and go all out. That's totally cool. If you're trying to keep costs low, I recommend going with some black, solid black, I think they're 100% polyester tablecloths. I'll leave a link, no worries there. I recommend the 8-foot long ones, or the ones that are made for 8-foot long tables that actually cover the entire table. So if you get an 8-foot table, which is the preferable table to vend at, sometimes they're only 6 feet and that's kind of annoying. I personally like an 8-foot table. An 8-foot table is enough room to put like 4 binders across the front, which is awesome. The 6-foot tables are a little less room. You can still use the same tablecloth, you just might have a little more droopage on the sides, and you can just tuck that in under the table. And for reference, this is the tablecloth that I use. You can tell it's clean, it's dark black, it's got a little bit of a shine to it. This is what you would use at any kind of a card selling event to just make your table look that much better. And so I really recommend getting a tablecloth. That was 100% one of the best things that I've done for my business, because when you walk around an event, you will notice the tables that have tablecloths do a lot more in sales. They have more people come up to them, more people interact with them. They look more professional. They give off the sense that, hey, this person actually knows what he's doing. He cares about what he's doing, and that's going to be reflected on your sales. So definitely get a tablecloth. And kind of jumping back to the binders, if you don't have a top loader binder, that's okay. You can have just like a regular side loading binder, nothing with a ring in it, because they're going to be flipped a lot, and if you have a ring, more than likely your cards will get damaged, whether it's a D ring, a circle ring, it doesn't matter. Go ringless or go home. Now here is my 151 Scarlet and Violet binder. This is one of the binders that I got upon release of 151, and so this is the one that I use for all of my cards, kind of in between $3 and $10. If it's over $10, I normally move it to the other binder, but this one I don't need, you know, as many or as quite of a nice binder for these cards. So this one does the trick. It really does. I really like this binder. And again, you can see on here, everything is got a price. I know that glare sucks, but everything's got a price, and I haven't like refilled this binder, so I'm missing a bunch. But you want to make sure you have everything pre-priced for the show. That's going to help you sell so much more. If you're only doing a couple $100 at a show, then you're doing something wrong, and this video will help you prevent that. So you got your binders, you got your price tags, everything has been priced the day before. You got a tablecloth, you've got signage, you've got business cards. What else is there? Well, at that point, the next thing you need to look at is going to be how you're taking payments. Now, if you are taking cash, I'm going to recommend getting you some sort of fanny pack. I know a lot of people might not like a fanny pack. Personally, I wasn't into them when I first got one, but then I got a high quality one that I actually liked. And so I think if you take the time to go out and find a fanny pack that you actually like, just to use at the shows, if you don't want to wear it out in public, I get it. This will be a good option for you. So here's the fanny pack that I ended up getting. I got a nice Supreme fanny pack here, and I will say it is super useful. So you don't have to get Supreme. This may be bougie, you know, whatever. This, it's not like I bought it new. So I went on eBay, I bought this for like 90 bucks, which is pretty high for a fanny pack. However, it is a super high quality fanny pack, and that's why I went with it, because I'm probably not going to ever buy another one ever again. So this is the one I liked. This is the one I went with. And the way I wear it is I take it and I put it over underneath my shoulder here, and I keep my money right here. So at all times I have all the cash on me, and I don't have to scramble looking for cash. I didn't put it in like a backpack or anything like that. It's right here. Also, if you're buying at shows, this is also useful for when you take in cards that you're buying. You can just, you know, unzip your pocket, slip it right in, zip it back up, you're done. Transaction complete. You know, if you have I got a $10 bill here. So, you know, but you got all your cash right here. And so for doing cash, I do recommend having some sort of bag that's, you know, attached to you to keep up with it. You can put it in your pockets, you can put it in your wallet, you could have a cash register. I don't really recommend any of that, to be honest, because this is portable. I can walk around the show if I have someone watching my table, and that's usually only when it's slow. However, it feels like good security, and this bag in particular is high quality made. You can just tell that this is not a cheap bag. I have a cheap bag that my mom actually donated to me for the business, and so I'm actually letting my my buddy, he helps me at shows, he wears that bag, and it works for him also. He likes it. And so a fanny pack may be a good buy. I don't really have a link to one. If you want this one, I can leave a link to like one on eBay or something. You could probably just look up the item number if you want the same one. It's like Supreme SS18. It's like the spring summer of 18 collection fanny pack. You'll find it if you look that up. And also you need to be able to take digital payments. A lot of times people come to these shows no cash. It's all digital nowadays. I would say majority of the transactions happen through Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Venmo is probably the biggest one. With that being said, make sure you have all of your apps in order. You got all your banking information connected right. That way you can get the money into your bank account quickly and everything is settled. You're able to take these payments. So I have Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and Apple Cash all set up, and so I'm able to take those different types of payments. And there are a few more. You could look at Zelle or Wise or whatever. Those are going to be the 4 that I focus on. I don't think I need to have all those different payments. And if you've got that set up, then you're in a good position to vend at a show. And so here are just a few bonus tips I'd like to add in. One thing that you can do to help you with your card shows is to organize your cards. And you can organize it however you like. I typically try to organize it by price, at least to some degree. And that's why I have a binder that is over 10. I have a binder that's between 3 and 9. And then I have binders for $1 and $2 cards respectively. And so that's how I organize my cards, because if I know how much that card is going for, I can usually say, hey, it's going to be in that binder if I have it. And so if I'm not sure if I have that card, I can always point to the binder that it would be in based on the market price. And so that's how I know how to find the cards. You may have a different option. You may say, okay, well, I just want to separate cards from EXs and Vs and VMAXs. That's cool. You can do that. You can do illustration rares or full arts or however you want to sort them. As long as you have a method for sorting your cards, that way if a customer asks, hey, do you have this card? You know whether you have that card or not, or where they can at least look. I always try to just be like, I think I might have it. If I really think I have it, I'll tell them I think I have it. It would be in this binder if I do. And at least that way they'll look through the binder. Maybe they'll also see something else they want. Another tip would be to show up to the event early, get set up early. Make sure you have a buddy there to help you vend. In my opinion, you cannot go and do a show by yourself effectively, because you may want to eat lunch. You may want to go to the bathroom. You may want to step outside and get some fresh air, or maybe you want to just check out some other tables. Whatever the case is, you don't want to necessarily be tied to the table at all times. If you're the business owner, it's actually quite good for you to go and talk to other people that are working the event and talk with them. You may learn a lot. And I will say I have learned a lot. I've met one guy who, literally says that he's a straight up scalper, and he takes all the products from all the Walmarts in his area, which is kind of crazy. I don't recommend doing that. But, he's got his perspective, and I was able to learn information from him, whether, it's good information or not. In one other case, I talked to another gentleman who only does sports cards, and he says, yeah, the thing to do with sports cards is to buy them off season, sell them during the season. Just do that all the time and you'll make money in sports cards. And so you're able to pick up these different things. You may learn the fact that, hey, megas from Pokemon are starting to increase in price. You might want to start picking up megas early now and hold them for a few months. That's something you can learn from a show. And so I always recommend talking to other vendors, just getting to know them, introduce yourself, tell them, whatever about yourself. Just try to make a connection, and who knows, that person could come buy from you, or you may have something that they might want to work out a deal on. You just never know. And so I always recommend talking to the other dealers and making friends in the game. And so with that being said, the only other thing I really can talk about that will help you out during the show is just your interaction, overall positivity, and being at the show, making sure that your prices are priced good, because you can overprice yourself and people are not going to buy from you. So I do think it is in your best interest to price things accurately to whatever the market is. If the market says $57.88, price it at 57 or 58. Simple as that. Don't go 65 on it. That's not how it's going to work. You may sell it, you may not. If it's like a super rare card, I understand that. You know, get your money if it's super rare. If it's something that's modern, whatever market is, that's the price, in my opinion. If it's under 5 years old, definitely whatever that price of that card is, that's the card price. And so price everything accurately. Make sure you have all of your cards priced, stickered, ready to sell. Make sure you've got some sort of pricing for your sealed products. You can also offer other products like top loaders. I have sold top loaders at shows or whatever. There are all sorts of different accessories, binders, deck boxes. There are so many different accessory sleeves. And also, just be friendly, talk to people, be encouraging to have conversations about what they're interested in. Maybe they're looking for a certain card. Maybe you have some kind of insight about that card. Maybe you can tell them what cards you like, or ask them more about the cards that they like. It just, you know, try to have a good time. And if you do all of those things, I think you will have an excellent show. There's no reason why you shouldn't go to a card show with all those things taken care of and not have fun and make money at the same time. And so that is everything that I do to prepare for a card show, and all of the things that I bring. The only other thing that I can think of right off the top of my head is for when you're loading and unloading into the show, it is very handy to have a cart of some sort to carry all of your products into the show. If you're just selling cards off of a binder, a backpack is fine. If you're carrying a lot of sealed product, I would recommend getting you a Handtruck that folds out into a full-size cart. I'll leave a link in the description. But that is everything that you really need to be successful at a card show. And so if you found this video helpful, you can drop me a like and a subscribe, and that would really help my channel. I really appreciate it. And that would also just help the algorithm. If you don't know what the algorithm is, you know, the more people that like my video, the more people my video will be shown to. And so every like is very well appreciated. And if you want to buy from me, go ahead and go to primevideogames.com, shop my stuff, and I will appreciate that as well. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, guys, the hustle never stops.